When Squid Game came out, people said it was unrealistic. A secret island, rich men funding everything, a frontman running the operation, money controlling people's choices. It felt extreme. Then the Epstein case exploded again in public conversation. And suddenly, that unreal feeling wasn't so strong anymore. Because when you strip away the costumes and the TV drama, the structure starts to look familiar. Squid Game begins with isolation, a remote island. No public access, no outside oversight. Epstein owned a private island, not symbolic, not metaphorical, an actual private island in the Virgin Islands. In Squid Game, people are transported there by invitation. On Epstein's island, people arrive by private jet and boat. You don't accidentally end up in either place. That's the first similarity, separation. In the show, isolation makes everything possible. In reality, isolation limits witnesses. You don't need to exaggerate that. Then there's the frontman. In Squid Game, the frontman isn't the richest man in the room. He runs the operation. He enforces the structure. He keeps everything contained. Epstein wasn't a screaming villain either. He moved calmly through elite circles. He hosted gatherings. He funded projects. He built connections. In both cases, the person at the center doesn't look chaotic. They look organized. That's what makes it more unsettling. Then look at the VIP layer in Squid Game. Masked wealthy men watching from above. Detached. Removed from consequences. There is no evidence of literal masked VIPs watching crimes on Epstein's island. But there are documented connections between Epstein and powerful figures. Photos exist. Flight logs exist. Court documents list names. In Squid Game, wealth sits above the chaos. In the Epstein case, wealth was nearby. That proximity is what makes people uncomfortable. The show exaggerates it with gold masks. Reality doesn't need costumes. Now the money. In Squid Game, money is the engine. It keeps people in the game. It creates desperation. In the Epstein case, money appears in almost every part of the story. He donated millions. He funded institutions. He invested heavily. He settled lawsuits. In Squid Game, money traps people at the bottom. In the Epstein case, money insulated someone at the top. Different direction. Same central force. Now look at organization. In Squid Game, everything is structured. There are rules. There's scheduling. There's planning. When you read through Epstein's court documents, you don't see chaos either. You see repeated travel. You see consistent contacts. You see names and dates listed over years. That's not cinematic. That's documented. In the show, the games didn't happen randomly. In reality, the activities didn't happen randomly either. They continued over time. That's a hard comparison to ignore. Then think about visibility. In Squid Game, the public doesn't know the games exist. In the Epstein case, rumors circulated for years before the full weight of federal charges hit. There was a 2008 plea deal. There were investigations. There were settlements. And still, life went on. In the show, the game continues because it's hidden. In reality, parts of the case continued quietly before becoming impossible to ignore. Now, here's where the comparison gets sharp. Squid Game makes the rich look openly cruel. Epstein didn't walk around in a gold mask. He blended in. He attended events. He maintained social status. The show shows open detachment. The real case showed quiet proximity. That's more subtle, and in some ways more disturbing. So when people ask, did Squid Game warn us about Epstein? It's not about prediction. It's about familiarity. Why did a fictional story about wealthy people on an island feel believable? Because the real world had already shown that isolation, money, and influence can create environments most people never see. In the show, contestants realize they're trapped too late. In the real case, the public realized the scale too late. The island in Squid Game is cinematic. The island in the Epstein case is documented. One is fiction. One resulted in federal indictments. But both involve isolation, wealth, hierarchy, control over access. Not supernatural symbols, not secret prophecies, just power placed far away from normal life. And when you line those up side by side, the comparison doesn't feel dramatic. It feels logical. That's why the conversation won't die. Because Squid Game showed a world where money builds walls. And the Epstein case showed that sometimes those walls are real. One story ends with credits. The other ended in prison and federal courtrooms. But the island, the money, and the quiet distance from everyday reality, that overlap is what keeps people talking.